Welcome. We've got a really significant document in front of us today, this report. Easter Attack Report, Easter District Court.
Tafty, yeah. A lot to unpack.
Definitely. And that's exactly what we're aiming to do in this deep dive. We want to walk through this whole report, pull out the really critical bits of information, the evidence it lays out about the 2019 Easter attacks in Sri Lanka and, the people involved who are now facing charges in the U.S.
Right. The goal is to get to the core findings, understand the FBI's investigation as presented here, without getting totally bogged down in all the legal jargon and the sheer volume of detail.
Exactly. Because the events themselves, April 21st, 2019, just horrific. 8 suicide bombers, the report says, coordinated attacks.
Yes, hitting 3 Christian churches, 4 hotels. Colombo, Negombo, Batacaloa, the human cost was staggering. The report puts it at 268 dead.
Including 5 Americans and over 500 injured. Just devastating.
Truly. And this report really forms the basis for understanding what happened next, the investigation.
And that investigation zeroes in on 3 individuals primarily. Mohamed Naufar, Mohamed Anwar Mohamed Riskan, and Ahamed Milhan Hayathu Moahmed.
Correct. The main charge outlined here is conspiring to provide material support to ISIS.
And for Naufar and Milhan, there's an additional charge, right? Aiding and abetting
Yeah,
military-type training from ISIS.
that's right. The report details the FBI working closely with Sri Lankan authorities to piece together how these attacks came about and what roles these specific individuals allegedly played.
Okay, so let's jump in. Right off the bat, the report makes a very clear connection to, well, a major global terrorist group.
No question, the ISIS link is central. The report states the attackers, their whole network really, they saw themselves as members and supporters of ISIS in Sri Lanka.
And this wasn't just some rogue group claiming the name.
No. According to the report, ISIS itself formally recognized them. They were seen as an official affiliate. And ISIS didn't waste time claiming the attacks either.
How quickly did that happen?
Very quickly, through their AMAC news agency. The report quotes them saying, Islamic State fighters targeted citizens of coalition states and Christians in Sri Lanka. Very specific targeting.
So not just a random act of violence, but ideologically driven and claimed by the central organization.
Precisely. And there's more concrete evidence tying them together.
Like what?
Well, the report mentions a photograph and also a video, apparently showing the attackers pledging allegiance, the bayat, to Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi.
The ISIS leader at the time. Wow, that's pretty direct.
It really is. It visually seals that link, that ideological commitment to ISIS global.
And who is leading this specific Sri Lankan group? The report names someone.
Zahran Hashim. He's identified unequivocally as the mastermind, the self-proclaimed leader of ISIS in Sri Lanka.
Self-proclaimed, but seemingly with backing.
Apparently so. He even claimed, according to the report, that he was in direct communication with ISIS leadership in Syria, that they'd basically given him the green light to operate as an official affiliate.
So, a local cell, but operating under the ISIS banner, potentially with their blessing.
That's the picture the report paints, yes.
Okay, so that establishes the who and the why in broad strokes. Let's talk about the how. The report digs into the explosives, the IEDs.
It does, extensively. It relies heavily on an affidavit from FBI Special Agent Merrilee R. Goodwin and analysis from TEDAC, that's the FBI's Terrorist Explosive Device Analytical Center.
Right. So what did they find? What were these bombs made of?
They break it down into the 3 basic IED parts: the explosive fill, the fusing system to set it off, and the container. The key finding on the explosive material points to nitrate-based stuff.
Like fertilizer bombs
Mhm.
or something similar?
Sort of. The report mentions water gel and says it's highly likely it was urea nitrate.
Urea nitrate, is that hard to get?
That's the disturbing part. Urea is a common fertilizer, creating urea nitrate from it. It's not simple chemistry for just anyone, but the components aren't exactly rare or tightly controlled military ordnance. It shows how dangerous, readily available materials can become.
That's a chilling thought. And how were they detonated? The fusing system.
Electrical. The report details 9-volt batteries providing the power.
Standard batteries.
Yeah, hooked up with wires, electrical tape, leading to commercial blasting caps. Those are the initial detonators.
Okay. Anything else unusual about the circuitry?
Well, kind of gruesomely mundane, they apparently used Christmas lights in the wiring.
Christmas lights. Seriously.
That's what the report says, along with simple rocker switches, push-button switches. And the crucial thing is, they found remnants of these exact things: specific colored wires, black tape, even bits of Christmas lights at the blast sites.
And also at the safe houses.
Exactly. They found consistent materials at the safe houses linked to the plotters. It creates a very strong physical link between the bomb-making locations and the actual attack sites.
A direct trail of evidence. The report also mentions ball bearings, doesn't it?
Yes. Tragically, yes. Packed into the devices.
For what purpose? Just to make them deadlier?
Purely that. To act as shrapnel. To maximize casualties and injuries. Purely designed to inflict maximum harm.
Horrific. Is there evidence they actually used them?
Yes, the report mentions photos of ball bearings recovered from the Cinema Grand Hotel blast site and also from a separate location where they apparently tested an IED in Batticaloa.
They tested them beforehand.
It seems so. And witness interviews mentioned in the report also back this up, talking about nitrate IEDs and specifically naming an individual, MMMH, who supposedly got detonators and water gel explosives for Zaran.
Okay, let's shift focus to the individuals charged. Mohamed Naufar. The report positions him quite high up in the group, right?
Very high up. He's described as the second emir, essentially Zaran's number 2.
Second in command. What were his alleged responsibilities?
Pretty wide-ranging, according to the report.
Yeah.
He supposedly led their propaganda efforts, handled media stuff, recruitment, and crucially, organized training.
Training what?
Weapons, explosives, and ISIS ideology. The whole package.
And Naufar actually spoke to the FBI. What did he admit to?
He did speak with them, yes. The report summarizes his admissions. He apparently said he lined up with Zaran and the whole ISIS ideology around 2017. He confirmed taking that pledge video we talked about, sending it to ISIS leaders in Syria.
So he confirmed the ISIS link directly?
Yes, and that ISIS officially recognized their group. He also admitted organizing about 8 training courses himself.
8? What did those involve?
Based on ISIS materials, he said. Covered ideology, but also practical stuff. Firearms, the report mentions, Type 56 rifles, 9mm pistols, and explosives, specifically black powder.
This sounds like a pretty organized operation. Did they take precautions during training?
Oh, yes. Naufar mentions strict security protocols, no phones allowed, using aliases, no sharing personal details, very conscious of secrecy.
But Naufar also claimed something else, didn't he, about his relationship with Zaran before the attack?
He did. He claimed they had a falling out, a rift, about a month before Easter Sunday.
A month before? That seems convenient.
Well, it's complicated by the fact that the report also states he got a warning call on the morning of the attacks from Riskan, telling him to flee.
Doesn't quite square with a complete falling out, does it?
It certainly raises questions about how genuine or deep that rift really was. The timing is interesting.
Did Naufar offer any theories on why Zaran chose those specific targets? The churches, the hotels?
He offered several possibilities to the FBI. Retaliation for something in Syria, maybe a U.S. strike, or a direct order from ISIS Central to hit churches, apparently referencing some pro-ISIS media call to action.
Okay. What about the hotels?
He suggested the Shangri-La might have been targeted because it's Chinese-owned, linking back to another supposed ISIS directive against Chinese interests. Other hotels, he thought, were because of the foreign guests.
Only other reasons he speculated on.
He also threw out there that maybe Zaran chose to be a bomber himself to avoid getting arrested, or simply to send a message to the world about ISIS hating the U.S. It's hard to know what was genuine belief and what was deflection.
It's a tangled web of potential motives. Did the report find any earlier evidence of his leanings before 2017?
Yes, actually. It notes his Facebook activity showed pro-ISIS sentiment as early as April 2016. Which, makes his claim of only aligning in 2017 seem a bit less solid.
Right, that earlier date is significant. Okay, let's talk about Mohamed Anwar Mohamed Riskan. His role seems more hands-on, more logistical.
Yes, very much so. The report describes him as an active ISIS member. He attended one of Zaran's training sessions, but his key contributions seemed to be securing safe houses for the group and actually helping make the bombs.
He helped build the IEDs.
That's what the report indicates, yes.
Yeah.
And it even says Zaran asked him to be one of the bombers.
Wow. Did Riskan admit to his involvement when the FBI interviewed him?
He admitted quite a bit. Attending that training in late 2017 or early 2018 covering ideology, explosives taught by Hassan and Milhan, he said, and firearms. He confirmed pledging allegiance to ISIS.
And the operational stuff, safe houses, materials.
Yes. He detailed getting safe houses starting around December 2018. And crucially, buying and transporting chemicals used for the IEDs. He mentioned getting help from someone called Co-Conspirator 3.
What kind of chemicals?
Things like urea. He described transporting urea and chemical bins from Negombo to another location, Mintaver.
And the report links him to that IED test we mentioned earlier.
Correct. Riskin admitted being there for the test in Batcaloa on April 15, 2019, just days before the main attacks.
And the actual bomb making?
He admitted being involved in manufacturing IEDs at the Panadura safe house, including, the report says, backing them with those ball bearings.
Chilling detail. How were they communicating?
He mentioned using Threema, an encrypted messaging app, to talk with the others. Standard practice for groups like this, trying to stay off the radar.
And Zoran asked him to participate directly, as a bomber.
Yes, on April 18th, just 3 days before. Zoran apparently called it the revenge mission. Riskin claims he declined.
He declined, but he was still involved right up to the end.
It appears so. And the physical evidence seems strong. The report mentions damaged metal sheets, a ball bearing found at that test site in Batticaloa.
And they placed him there.
His phone's geolocation data put him nearby on the day of the test, according to the report. Plus, his fingerprints were found at the Panadura safe house where the bomb-making happened.
So, witness statements, his own admissions, physical evidence. It seems to paint a pretty clear picture of his involvement.
Yes, and the report also includes corroborating statements from others, someone named WFL, talking about Riskin transporting urea and what he thought was sulfuric acid. Others, MPF and ASMI, confirming he rented the safe houses in Negombo and Panadura with another individual, and MIAA mentioning depositing a large sum of money into Riskin's account.
Okay, the third main individual, Ahamed Milhan Hayathu Moahmed. What was his alleged role?
Milham's involvement, as laid out in the report, is also deeply concerning. He's presented as another core ISIS member in the group.
Doing what specifically?
Several things. Providing firearms training, like Naufar, but also direct violence. Participating in the murder of 2 police officers, shooting a suspected informant.
Murder. On whose orders?
Zoran's, according to Milhan's own admissions cited in the report. He also apparently helped facilitate buying explosive materials and even scouted locations for potential future attacks.
So he spoke to the FBI, too. What did he say?
Yes, he did. He admitted meeting Naufar first, in Qatar, where he learned about ISIS, then meeting Zoran back in Sri Lanka and pledging allegiance in that video.
Did he mention the training aspect?
He did. He talked about forming something called the Tarbiyah program with Naufar, focused on ideology and jihad for the members. He detailed his role in weapons training, Type 56, 9mm pistol again.
In the police murders, he admitted involvement.
Chillingly, yes. He admitted being involved in killing 2 Sri Lankan police officers in November 2018 on Zoran's orders. Said he personally shot one of them. He also admitted shooting the suspected informant, again directed by Zoran.
This goes way beyond just plotting and scouting locations. What kind of places?
He admitted looking at civilian targets back in February 2019. Places like the Galley Face Road parade route in Colombo and the Candy Perahera, a major cultural festival, suggest they are planning more attacks beyond Easter Sunday.
A broader campaign. Did he claim involvement in the Easter bombs themselves?
He admitted seeing others make IEDs at the Puttalam safe house and helping get detonators for Zoran. But like Naufar, he claimed a confrontation with Zoran before the attacks and denied specific prior knowledge of the Easter plot itself.
Another claim of distancing himself just before the event. Any other evidence linked to him?
The report mentions his Google Drive account contained ISIS propaganda. And significantly, a report from a Sri Lankan chief inspector is cited, confirming the details Milhan gave about the police murders, the types of weapons used. The one stolen at all matched up with Milhan's account to the FBI.
So external corroboration for his admissions on that specific crime.
Exactly. It adds weight to his statements.
The report also touches on others, beyond these 3 main figures, right? Co-conspirators.
Yes, briefly. It doesn't name them, but outlines their roles, which really shows how this wasn't just 3 or 4 guys. It was a network.
What kind of roles did these co-conspirators play?
Various crucial supporting roles. Co-conspirator 1, for instance, was allegedly involved in those police murders alongside Milhan and also helped get acids needed for the bombs.
Okay. Others?
Co-conspirator 2 was involved in making and testing the IEDs. Co-conspirator 3 helped Riskin get key chemicals, nitric and sulfuric acid are mentioned. And co-conspirator 4 provided the safe house in Puttalam, a key hub, and also bought large amounts of urea fertilizer.
The raw material for the main explosive?
Precisely. The report even states co-conspirator 4 actually saw them making urea nitrate explosive on his property. And later, Sri Lankan police found bomb-making materials right there.
Wow. Direct observation and physical evidence recovery.
Yes. And there's another statement mentioned from MSMA who confirmed attending training and also spoke about that supposed rift between Naufar and Zoran. So even these brief mentions highlight the wider web needed to pull off something like this. procuring stuff, providing locations,
Yeah.
all essential.